Hey guys, today I'm going to go over the basic commands in AutoCAD 2022. So I will make multiple different videos for each toolbar that I go over. This first video is going to be the basic mouse commands and the Draw Toolbar, and the videos will build on each other, so this will be part one, and then you can watch the other parts to look at different tools. I will also have timestamps in the description for the different commands that I'm going over, and these are just the most basic ones that you'll use to create different drawings, and that's it. So moving on to the mouse commands. The main mouse command that you'll use is the right mouse button, which you use to select different commands and to select objects on the screen. And then also you'll use the middle mouse scroll wheel, which if you scroll in and out using that wheel, it'll zoom in or out on your screen. And then also if you hold down that middle mouse scroll wheel, you can pan around to view different objects on the screen. There are commands you can use for this. I just find it's easier to use a mouse to do this. It speeds up the process so you don't have to select different commands. And then I have mine set up so that when I hit the left mouse button, it acts as the enter key. So you can use that to finish commands or exit out of different commands in the program, which you'll see me do throughout the tutorial. So the first tool in the Draw Toolbar, which is this toolbar on the far left of my screen, that I'm going to talk about is the line command, and for the line command it's pretty self-explanatory, you're just creating lines. So I'm going to select that command, and it's going to have you specify the first endpoint of the line, and I'm just going to click a random point in space. If you want to start at the origin, you can, I just don't think it's necessary. So I'm going to select just a random point in space, and then as you can see, you can create the line in any direction, and it'll have you specify the next endpoint. And mine is currently set to snap to every 45-degree angle, so we have 0, 45, 90, and so on. You can change that using this drop down at the bottom called polar tracking. And so you can change it, for example, to 30 degrees. So now when I move my mouse around, it'll snap to every 30-degree increment. This can be helpful if you're doing different drawings, like that need the angles, for example. So for this line, I'm going to draw straight, and you can just click your mouse and make it any dimension, or you can type in. So for example, this one's going to be 35. And I'm going to draw another line straight up, and as you can see, it'll just continue creating lines using that last point as the start point. For this one, I'm going to make it 20 up, so type in the number 20 and hit enter. And if you wanted a custom angle, so if I wanted, say, this angle to be like 141, I could hit the tab key on my keyboard, and that'll allow me to adjust that angle. So I'm going to type 141 and then tab again to change my distance to 20, and then enter, and that'll create that line with the specific angle and length that we specified. The next command that we're going to talk about is the rectangle command, which, as its name implies, it allows you to create a rectangle. And to do this, it first asks you to specify one corner. So I'm going to specify my first corner in this direction, and one thing that I find helpful is if you hover over a point and then move your mouse, you'll see this green dotted line that shows that you are lined up with that point, which this can be helpful if you're trying to line up different views of drawings. So I'm going to hover over that bottom corner and then move my mouse down and click anywhere to start my first point. And for this one, I'm gonna make the dimensions of my rectangle 19, and then I'm gonna hit tab to edit the other dimension and make it 10, and hit enter to lock in those dimensions. So that is the main function of the rectangle command. As you can see down here, there are different options as well. For our purposes, we're just going to use what we have, just the basic 2-point creation. If you want to explore those more, you can do that yourself, or I can make another video in the future about that. So then the next command we're going to briefly talk about is the arc command, which this creates an arc using 3 separate points that you specify. So I'm going to select the arc command, and then it's going to have me specify the start point of my arc. So for my arc, I'm going to select this point up here, and then it's going to have me specify the center, or the second point, which is another point along the arc. And then my third point will be that end point of my arc, and I'm going to select this top corner of this rectangle. And that is one method of creating an arc. I'm going to select the command again, and then we can see down here it's this option center, so I'm going to select that. And this time it's going to have me specify the center point of my arc, which I'm going to select just this open space down here. And now it's going to have me specify a start point and an end point. So we can see that this arc moves around that center point that we specified. And I'm going to do about there, just to create that arc. So those are the 2 different methods that you can use the arc command to create arcs. So now, moving down our list, we're going to talk about the circle command. And so I'm going to click on that circle command, and the default is to have me specify the center point of the circle. You can also do a couple different options. I'm going to talk about the main option first. So I'm going to specify a center point, and I'm just going to specify the end of this line. And the default is it's going to ask me to type in the radius. If I wanted to type in the diameter, I could just select diameter at the bottom and type it in there. So I'm going to set my radius to a distance of 12. So type in 12, hit enter. And then I'm going to select my circle command again. And this time I'm going to do the tangent radius option, which essentially makes a circle between 2 different points and has it tangent to those. So for this example, I'm going to make it tangent to these 2 circles I have drawn, and I'm just going to specify one of the circles first and then the other circle. And now it's going to have me specify a radius, and I'm going to have my radius be 10 and hit enter. So as we can see, it made that circle with a radius of 10 tangent to both of the circles we had already drawn. Okay, so those are 2 of the most common ways to use the circle command. So another command that you won't use as commonly but is still helpful is called the Spline Command. And it's similar to the line command, where it will create a line, but it will create a smooth line that is curved between the points that you specify. So for example, I'm going to select this endpoint of this line, and you'll see as I click on separate points, it creates a curved line between all of those points. And then you can just hit enter to exit out of that command. And that's helpful sometimes if you just want a rough curved line that doesn't have to be to any specific dimensions. So then the last command that I'm going to talk about in this video is the Ellipse Command. And the Ellipse Command is similar to the Circle Command, but it makes ellipses. And so I'm going to select the Ellipse Command, and it's going to have me specify one endpoint of the ellipse, and I'm going to select this corner here, and then it's going to have me specify the other endpoint, and I'm going to select just anywhere in this open space. You can also type in a distance there if you wanted to, so if you wanted to type in like a distance of 15, you could do that as well. And now it's going to have you specify the width of that ellipse, and I'm just going to make mine a distance of 3. And as you can see, that makes an ellipse. If you enter into the Ellipse Command, again, you can see there's different options at the bottom as well. I'm going to select the center option this time, and so instead of selecting an axis like it had me do the first time, it's going to have me specify the center. So I'm going to specify this corner of this rectangle as my center point, and now it's going to have me specify one of the axes, so I'm going to type in a distance of 7 and hit enter. And now it's going to have me specify the other axis distance, so I'm going to type in 14 and enter. And that's just another method to create an ellipse. So I know that's not all of the commands in the Draw Toolbar, but I just briefly wanted to go over some of the most basic ones that you'll be using a lot. If you want to see any more of these in depth, feel free to comment and ask for that, or reach out to me. Again, these are in the Draw toolbar, and the next video I'm going to be going through the modified toolbar to show you how to edit these and how to make changes to what you have drawn already. So that is it for this video. Hopefully it helped. Feel free to let me know if it did. So that is all. Goodbye.